Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. It's 7 o'clock now, so we'll start our class with the starting prayer. Can I request the ST to give me an ID for the starting prayer?
I'll give you A7301.
A7301.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. A7301, can you please recite the starting prayers for everyone?
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب إني لما أنزلت إلي من خير فقير. My Lord, I am in need of whatever good thou mayest send down to me. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم.
And the translation?
Our Lord, accept this from us, for you are all hearing, all knowing.
Jazakallah, A7301. Can I request the TA now to go through the class etiquette?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
So, perform wuzu before your lesson and cover your head and revise your lesson and sit with an adult in a quiet room and keep your audio and video off and please log in with your correct ID. And during the lesson, please listen attentively to the class and recite the verses alongside the online recitation. And please do not raise hand unless you're requested to. And after the lesson, please revise your lesson and complete the assigned homework. For contact, we've got info@nqc.org.uk. And please be reminded that these classes offer additional support to learning and they are not a replacement for one-to-one learning at home. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah. So, for those of you who are at the time, you would have seen that today is another revision lesson and we will be revising Surah Shams. So, first, I will recite the entire Surah and then we will choose some students to go over the same Surah before I start listening to the hifz. And I would like to request all the students to recite after me as I go over the Surah. Jazakallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بطغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها Jazakumullah. So I hope that everyone was reciting along with me. Now we will pick two students to go over the same surah. So can I request ST to give me the first student?
N8312.
N8312.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. So okay, N8312, can you please recite the same surah?
Yes.
Okay, make sure that you are sitting down and everything is settled because there's a lot of noise coming. Okay, it's much better now. So can you please recite from verse 1 to verse 10,
Okay.
start with Tawbas.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها.
And 8312, can you start from verse 3 again?
Okay. والقمر إذا تلاها.
Okay, it's not talaha, talaha.
Okay.
Okay, there is
إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء
wasama.
وما بناها.
Okay, again, not banna, banaha. Okay,
بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها.
okay. Jazakillah and 312. So, I've highlighted some of your mistakes. I corrected you on the spot as well. So this last mistake, this letter which I've highlighted, do you know what you have to do here?
Kalkala.
Yes, qalqala. So you might have done it, but I didn't hear it properly. So make sure that you do it properly. So can you recite this verse again and do qalqala as well on qaf?
فألهمها فجورها وتقواها.
Okay, well done. That was much better. And here, make sure that ra is thick, okay? Because it has the fatha stroke on top. Okay, in verse 7, I've highlighted the letter ta. And do you know what mistake you made here?
I prolonged it.
Okay, no. So it's a similar sounding letter to the word ta. Can you see here in verse 3? We have ta, but we have to differentiate between the sounds. So for ta, it has a thick and heavy sound. Okay? Ta. Can you recite this verse again?
والأرض وما طحاها.
Okay, that was better. Keep practicing and it will get even better. Okay, and another mistake, it's very common because again, it's a similar sounding letter. So we have dad here, and it is similar sounding to the letter za. But we have to differentiate between the sound. So for dad, again, it has a thick and heavy sound. Okay?
Okay.
So make sure to practice for that sound as well. Here, again, the letter za, zal, it has a hissing sound. So if you touch the tongue with the upper front teeth, then the sound should manifest. So can you recite this verse again and be careful with this letter?
والليل إذا سجى.
Yaghsh,
والليل
yaghshaha.
والليل إذا يغشاها.
Okay, it was much better this time. Lastly, ha, the letter ha, it comes from the middle of the throat because we have this ha, which has a simple sound like in English alphabets, it has a sound like the letter H. Okay, but this one here, it comes from the middle of the throat. Wadruhaha. Okay, and they are right next to each other. So make sure to differentiate their sound. Can you recite this verse again?
والشمس وضحاها.
Okay, that is much better. So again, keep practicing, and inshallah it will get even more better. So can we have the another student for the last few verses?
Okay, can we have N8310? And I think she wants to ask question as well.
Okay. And 8310.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Yes.
Okay, I forgot my question, but because it took quite a while. But can I read anyway?
Yes. So can you please start with Tavus and start with verse 9 and then all the way up to the end.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بطغواها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها فقال لهم رسول الله
Recite from Kazab and 8310.
Yeah.
Can you recite from Kazabat again?
كذبت ثمود بطغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها.
Okay. Jazakillah and 8310. So in the last verse, you recite the word uqbaha. You recited it really well. So the qaf was thick and you also did qalqala. But here in verse 14, it wasn't thick enough. Okay, so make sure that every time it's nice and thick because we have two different types of qafs. So here in verse 12, we have this qaf, kazabat. It has a soft sound compared to the one with the two dots. It has a thick sound. So suqyaha. Okay. In verse 15, I've highlighted this letter here, zal. I mentioned it to the previous student as well. Do you know what mistake you made here?
Is it meant to be thick?
Okay, not thick. It has a similar sound to the letter za, but it has a vibrating sound. So, فَكَذَّبُوهُ فَأَقَرُوهَا. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Here I have highlighted the word Allah. Do you know why?
I didn't do Lam Jalala.
You have to make the lam thick because the previous letter is carrying the dhamma stroke, right? So if the previous letter carries a fatha or a dhamma stroke, we have to make the lam thick. So in this case, the previous letter is carrying a fatha stroke. In both cases, we have to make the lam in the word Allah thick. Okay, again, this qaf, make sure that it's thick, the sound thick and heavy.
Okay.
In verse 12, I have highlighted the letter ta. Do you know what mistake you made? Okay, I'll just say it. So it's a similar sounding letter again to the letter ta. Here in verse 9 you can see, but we have to differentiate between the sounds. So for ta, it has a thick and heavy sound. Bitagwaha. Okay, so can you recite this verse again? Verse 12.
Okay. كذبت ثمود بطغواها.
Okay, well done. So you tried to differentiate and pronounce the letter tha correctly, and you also recited tha correctly. I highlighted, but I didn't tell you that you made a mistake here. So well done. Again, tha, it has a hissing sound, and it has the same rule as the letter zal. So our tongue touches the upper front teeth, and when the air escapes, the sound is manifested. So, but you corrected that mistake, so that's good as well. In verse 10, I have highlighted the letter dal.
I didn't do kalkula, did I?
Yeah, so you have to do qalqala. It's good that you know that you have to perform qalqala here. And here, again, the letter ha, it comes from the middle of the throat, and we have to differentiate between this ha and this ha. Okay, so can you recite verse 10 again?
قد أفلح من زكاها.
Okay, well done. That was much better. All right. Jazakillah, and 310.
Zakla.
So now we will move on and start listening to the hifz. Before that, I will start the breakout room, and I would like to request all the students, if you receive an invitation for the breakout room, please click on accept. Okay, so the breakout room is now started. Can I request the ST to give me an ID so that I can start listening to the hifz? Assalamu alaikum. Okay.
Will I give you another one?
Yes.
N8314.
N8314.
She's not in the class. I think she went in the breakout room, probably.
Yes.
I'll give you N8318.
N8318.
I can't unmute her.
Okay, I'll try to unmute her. In the meanwhile, you can
Okay.
find another ID. N8312. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, so now we have N8312.
Okay, and N82.
Okay, N8312.
Yes.
Just give me a moment to write
I
down
think she has done it before. She recited the Surah Ash-Shams with you?
Yeah, she did the revision lesson.
Okay.
Yeah, but I will listen to her hifz.
Yes, okay. She's up to Surah Ash-Shams.
Okay. So N8312, previously you have memorized and recited up to Surah Al-Ghashiyah. Have you started memorizing Surah Shams?
Yes.
Okay. How much do you know how much you have memorized?
I think up to verse 4.
Okay. So you can start reciting. Start with Tawus.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والليل إذا يغشاها.
Okay. It's one. Okay. That was up to verse 5. Can you recite from Wal Qamari again?
Yes. والقمر إذا تلاها
Okay. It's Talaha.
تلاها.
Continue.
That's it.
But you recited more just. Okay. Can you start from Washamsi again? And recite
Yes.
up to verse 4.
والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والليل إذا يغشاها.
Okay. I think you
لقد.
Okay. Now it's on the screen. I think you forgot to recite one Nahari. So verse 4. And then you went straight to verse 5. Okay. So
Okay.
yeah. In terms of pronunciation, I will highlight a few mistakes and you should try to correct them. So the first one, again, you said Tallaha. On Lam, we don't have the shad stroke. So you see this little W-like sign on Noon, on the letter
Yes.
Noon. When that is on top of a letter, we stress on that letter and make a double sound. But on Lam, we don't have that. So you just have to simply say Talaha. Okay?
Okay.
In second verse, again, make sure that you differentiate between the sound of the two ha. Okay? Can you recite verse 4 again?
والنهار إذا جلاها.
So, Jallaha. Make sure that both of them are equally prolonged. And this letter here, Zal, it has a vibrating sound. I mentioned it to one of the previous students as well. So, differentiate between the sound of Zal and Za. Okay? Can you
Okay.
recite verse 5 again?
والليل إذا يغشاها.
Okay. Yaghshaha. Okay.
يغشاها.
All right. So just keep practicing the mistakes that I have highlighted, and also try to memorize the next few verses for the next lesson.
Okay.
All right. Jazakillah. And it's you one too. Can we have the next student?
Yes, next is going to be A7310. And his is up to Surat Al-Qadr,
Okay. So he has completed.
up to Surat Al-Qadr.
A7310. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Okay. Have you started memorizing Surah Al-Qadr?
Yeah, I know the whole surah.
Okay. Start with Tawuz and
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من ألف الشهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر.
Okay. Jazakallah is 7310. Let me go back to the surah. Okay, so I will point out a few mistakes. First of all, in verse 2, the noon, sakin, we have to perform the rule of ikhfa, and for that we have to conceal the sound of noon. So, anzalna. So, can you recite the first verse again?
إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر.
Okay, so keep practicing and it will get better. The next mistake in verse 4, here you said shahr. So on top of ha, we don't have a fatha stroke, but it's a very common mistake. But it should be corrected. So it's shahr. Can you say this, recite this verse again?
ليلة القدر خير من ألف الشهر.
Okay, that was much better. In verse 5, here we have waruhu. So on ra, stress, we have to stress on ra and make a double sound because it has the shad sign. So can you recite this verse again as well?
تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام.
Okay. So again, we have to hear it's not min kulli, min kulli amr, because noon is followed by qaf. So therefore we have to conceal the sound of noon and perform the rule of ikhfa. And another mistake, zal, as I mentioned to the previous student, it has a vibrating sound. So bi izni. And in the last verse, can you recite the last verse?
هي حتى مطلع الفجر.
Okay, it was much better this time, but I couldn't hear the qalqala properly last time. So make sure to recite slowly and perform each of the rules carefully. Jazakallah, A7310. Can we have another student?
Yes, we can have A7321.
Okay. A7321. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Previously, A7321, you memorized and recited Surah 3 completely. Have you started memorizing Surah Al-Qadr?
Yeah, I've memorized it.
Okay. You can start.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Well, wait, what surah is that?
Inna Surah Al-Qadr.
إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر. وما
ليلة
أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من ألف الشهر تنزل الملائكة
تنزل الملائكة
تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام فيها حتى مطلع الفجر.
Okay, can you recite the last verse again? Salamun.
سلام فيها حتى مطلع الفجر.
Okay, it's hiya. Hiya. Okay? Can you, let's go back. So first of all, in A'udhu Billah, the letter Ta, it has a thick and heavy sound, but it shouldn't be pronounced as Twa. Okay? Twa is wrong. A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. Did you hear the difference?
Yeah.
Okay. So make sure that you correct that mistake.
Okay.
Let's go back to the surah and I will highlight a few mistakes. So A7321.
Yeah.
In verse 2, here it's Laylatul Qadr, but you said Laylatul Qadr. So you probably got confused because later on it is Laylatul Qadr.
Yeah.
So make sure you correct that.
Aye.
And also, as I mentioned to the previous students, here on Noon Sakin, let's see if you were hearing, if you were listening carefully. So what mistake do you think you made here?
There was no calcula.
Okay, that's not what the mistake. So here you have to, on Noon Sakin, you have to perform the rule of Ikhfa. Okay, do you know what you have to do for that rule?
Make it like a nasal sound.
Okay, you have to conceal the sound of Noon. Okay, so instead of clear and obvious sound, conceal it. أنزلناه. It wasn't, the sound of Noon isn't clear, right, when I say it?
Yeah.
So that's how it should be. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر. Okay?
Yeah.
So can you recite this verse?
إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر.
Okay, that was much better. And you did Kalkula really well here. And you mentioned about Gunna, the nasal sound. You have to do that here on inna, because on top of Noon we have Shad. Okay? For Ikhfa, it's that's the rule of Noon Sakin. Okay? And the nasal sound, which is Gunna, that's for Noon and Mim Mushaddad. Okay? When they have this little tiny W sign.
Okay.
Okay. The next mistake in verse 5. So here, make sure that waruhu, the ra sound, it should be thick as well. Okay, when you stress on ra, you should also make a thick sound. So can you recite this verse again?
تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر.
Again, here you also have to perform the rule of ikhfa. Okay, min kulli amr.
من كل أمر.
Okay, well done. That was much better. Here, you said he, ha, which is wrong. So can you recite the last verse again?
هي حتى مطلع الفجر.
Okay. Matla al-fajr. So make sure the letter ta is also thick, and also we have to perform qalqala as well. So two things, we have to perform two rules together. So Jazakallah is 7321.
The next one is going to be N8316.
Okay, before that, can I just ask A7321? He hasn't done Surah Al-Inshirah.
He has done.
Okay.
He has done that.
Okay, let's have the next student.
Okay, N8316.
And 8316.
Can't unmute her.
Okay, I will try to unmute her. In the meanwhile, you can find another student.
Okay. N8314. No, she's not here. Sorry. N8311.
Okay, N8316
16.
was unmuted, but now again.
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't do it. Sorry.
Yeah, I tried to unmute, but I can't unmute her.
Okay. We can have A7317.
Assalamu alaikum.
A7317. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Have you memorized Surah Al-Qadr?
Yes.
Okay. You can start reciting. Start with Tawbas.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر. ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر. تنزل الملائكة روح فيها والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر. سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر.
Okay. Can you recite from Tanazzalul Malaikatu again?
Okay. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر. سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر.
Okay. Jazakallah is 7317. First of all, in Tawbas, just as I mentioned to one of the previous students, it's not Toa. It has the letter Ta has a thick and heavy sound. So, but you don't have to pronounce it as Toa. Okay. Minash shaitanir rajim. So make sure to correct that mistake. In the last two verses, so you paused here after Amrin, and you also paused after Salam, but you only have to pause in one of the two places, okay?
Okay.
You see these 3 dots here and the same 3 dots here as well?
Yeah.
It means that you have to stop either on the first stop or on the second stop, not on both. Okay, so after that, in verse 5, so I have highlighted this letter. Do you know what mistake you made here? Noon Sakin, I mentioned to the previous students as well.
Did I not do harfe izhar?
Okay,
Did I not do izhar? I mean,
that's the opposite. You have to do ikhfa here.
oh.
So izhar is what you did, and that is wrong. You are supposed to do ikhfa here, which is to conceal the sound of noon. Okay, so instead of min kulli, min kulli amr. Okay.
Okay.
This same verse in verse 5, the letter ha, make sure to differentiate the sound of ha from this ha. Okay.
Okay.
So I mentioned to the previous students as well how to pronounce this ha correctly. The sound comes from the middle of the throat. So if you practice again and again, it should get better.
Okay.
In verse 2, okay. Can you tell me what mistake you made here, if you know?
Did I not prolong it?
Okay. That's prolongation was fine, but you have to make nasal sound. Okay. In okay.
Okay.
So practice that as well, and I think that's all. Jazakallah is 7317.
Jazakallah.
Can we have the next student?
Yes, we can have N8. Sorry. N8311.
N8311.
N8314 first, sorry.
Okay.
N8314. And she has memorized Surat Al-Ala.
Okay. N8314. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
So previously, you memorized and recited up to Surah Duha, verse 6.
I just did the whole thing in the breakout room.
Okay, today?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's fine. And what about Surah Al-Inshirah?
I haven't started it yet.
Okay, that's fine. Jazakallah and at 314.
Jazakallah.
Can we have another student?
Okay, A7306.
A7306. Assalamu alaikum.
And he is Surah Al-Inshirah. I think he unmuted himself, I think.
A7306.
We have got the same problem. He is in the class and I'm trying second time with that. So we can have an 8318.
An 8318. An 8318. Assalamu alaikum.
I haven't memorized more than Surah Al-Ala. But I have a question.
Yes.
When do you know the date when the course will end?
Okay, I don't know the exact date. Only 3 weeks of the course are left. So, yeah, if you can work that out.
Okay.
in December, before the holidays, inshallah.
She is on Surah Al-Ala, verse 5.
I'm trying to memorize it, but I have not yet memorized.
Okay.
I've only memorized up to verse 5.
Yeah, so that's fine. What we'll do today is recite the next 2 verses with me, and when you, after today's class, try to memorize the next 2 verses, okay, for the next class, and just do little bit every day, and yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So before that, if you can recite from verse 4, just as a revision.
This A'udhu from verse 4.
Yes, verse 4, Surah Al-Ala.
What does that start with?
Okay, I'll show it to you on the screen. So it starts with Wallazi.
Okay. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wow.
Wallazi.
والذي أخرج المرأة. And that's 2 verse.
Okay. والذي قدر فهدى.
Oh. والذي قدر فهدى.
Yes. Okay. So.
Can I start from the beginning?
Okay. Yes. Start from the beginning.
سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي سبح اسم ربك الأعلى.
Yes. الذي
خلق فسوى والذي أخرج قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرأة.
All right, that is Jazakallah. That was up to verse 5. So today you can now recite the next 2 verses from the screen with me.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, go on.
فجعله غشاء أحوى.
Okay. فجعله 2 seconds long, and then غثاء أحوى. The sound comes from the middle of the throat, and the tha, it has a hissing sound if you touch the tip of the tongue with the upper front teeth, and also make sure to prolong it for 4 seconds. Okay? Can you recite that again?
فجعلها
sa
أحوى.
Okay, and the next verse.
سنقرئك فلا تنسى.
Okay, don't prolong the oo for more than 1 second.
Okay.
And the qaf, it has a thick and heavy sound. سنقرئك فلا تنسى.
سنقرئك فلا تنسى.
And noon, you have to perform ikhfa. So make sure that you conceal the sound of noon. Can you recite the verse again?
سنقرئك فلا سنقرئك فلا تنسى.
Okay, not uk. Okay, repeat after me, okay? سنقرئك فلا تنسى. Okay, that was much better. So please try and memorize the next few verses before the next lesson.
Okay.
So Jazakumullah. Now we are going to move on towards the conclusion of our class. Before that, I would like to make 2 announcements. So first of all, as N318 asked, when does the course ends? So the course will end on the 13th of December. So on the 13th of December, we will have our last class. And the second thing that I want to mention is that before the course end, we will have one more exam. So I just want to encourage all the students that please keep trying. If you have memorized everything, then keep revising. And if you haven't memorized everything, then try to memorize a little bit every day. Okay? So, Jazakumullah. So, the homework for today is Surah Shams. Again, if you have already memorized it, then you just need to revise the surah so that you don't forget it. And if you haven't memorized, then try to memorize a few verses every day. And as all of you know that we have completed the syllabus. So we have all of the chapters have been taught. Chapter 1, chapter 87, 88, 91, 93, 94, 95, and 97. So again, make sure that you revise all of these if you have memorized them. And if you haven't memorized them, then try to complete the surah, whichever surah you are on currently, and then move on to the next surah. Jazakumullah. Now can I ask the ST for a student for the ending prayer?
Not in the class now. I'll give you N8308.
N8308.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Can you please recite the ending prayer for everyone?
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. O Allah, accept this effort and service from us, for you are for you are most hearing, most knowing.
Jazakallah, N8308. And with that, we will end our today's class. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.